to this edition of Spotlight On. Today we are talking about all things integration. Now with me, I have Mike Hornsby, the General Manager for Integration at Fusion 5. Good, Mike.
Hello, Trudi. Pleasure to
Hey,
be here.
thank you. For those of you online who haven't seen the news or been following along at home, Fusion 5 recently acquired the company Integration Works, which is a long-standing and well-known integration company in the market. And we saw a fantastic opportunity to bring the two together, and that's why we're lucky enough to have Mike here with us. Part of the reasoning behind that acquisition is given how interconnected business applications are with the likes of security and modern work practices, systems integration conversations over simple point-to-point solution conversations are becoming more and more the norm, especially when it comes to road mapping enterprise digital transformation. So adding in a dedicated, mature integration division to Fusion 5 enables us to be truly the systems integrator partner that Australian and New Zealand businesses need to get the greatest value from their technology investments. Does that sound about right to you, Mike?
Indeed, Trudi. Yep, spot on. We're very excited to be part of Fusion 5 for that very reason. We're a 20-year-old company as Integration Works, and now coming into Fusion 5, we are pretty excited about that opportunity you've mentioned to, really reinforce the I part of the SI, as our integration capability is quite deep, and so I'm looking forward to talking about that now.
Well, on that note, would you like to just give me a little bit of a history of the role of integration in business?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one, and if I think back to my computer operator days back in the 80s, late 80s, companies were very monolithic. You might have a mainframe or one or two systems, that comprised your infrastructure for your business that your business ran on, and point-to-point solutions back in those days might have did make sense. But as you move into the 90s and beyond, you're starting to see business applications come on stream, such as your CRM and your payroll and your asset management, and those point-to-point solutions then started to creak at the seams a little bit. They started to not make sense, and integration really became into focus back then. And that's when our founder Grant McKean looked around and saw the opportunity, this was 20 years ago, to do integration well for businesses that were now starting to get complicated ecosystems that needed connection, and integration done poorly puts a tax on everything else. So that's why we came into existence. And nowadays, obviously, businesses are massively dynamic. API environments popping up all over the place that are the front windows to multiple systems, and then ecosystems where that business needs to connect with their partners or with their customers, and on it goes. And so at the heart of all of that, to create true connectivity and agility through that, is integration. So here we are.
That's quite a journey. I can just imagine the integration conversation in the 80s is a very different one to the ones you have today.
Yeah.
Well, thinking about that and our very complex businesses that we have these days, not only in terms of what we do as businesses, but all the tools we rely on to deliver up those services and products. In your opinion, what is the core value of integration for businesses in the modern work environment?
Yeah, well, I guess it depends who you ask, Trudi, and seeing as you're asking me, for me, it's I'm non-technical. I'm a business leader, so for me, it's about winning. It's about winning in the market share. I like to call it not just competitive advantage, but sustained competitive advantage, is what I like to give to our customers as a weapon to win in their respective markets. And so, if you're doing integration well, and we'll talk about what that looks like shortly, but you are differentiating with a strategic weapon that you can use to get speed to value and get market share and all those sorts of things. So essentially, core value is at a business level is getting market share and winning in the market.
Okay, so integration done well is in fact a weapon for sustained competitive advantage.
There you go. That's a good
Yeah,
summary. Thank
we
you.
like that.
Yes, we do.
Okay, well, that sounds exciting. Who wouldn't want that? Um, I guess the question then is, I mean, that sounds great, and it's very it's broad and it feels like it covers a lot of things.
Mm.
So, and we often know that we might need something, but we're not entirely sure what's pointing us in that direction or helping us realize it's time to make a change. So, what would you say are the top three signs or symptoms, I guess, that would give a business some inkling that it's time to start doing integration well?
Yeah. Well, I think businesses embark on digital transformations for many different reasons. And for whatever reason that you embark on a digital program of work, you need to have integration considered up front and at the heart of that transformation. So we talk about, in the old days, you'd have that cloud first, tagline that was going around. Everyone was cloud first. We believe that hashtag integration first is what people should consider these days. Not just in the sense that your systems need to talk to each other, but they need to be portable and consistent. And so by consistent, what I mean is it's based on data standards. And so that is at the heart of good integration, where in health, fire is that standard. In banking, it's buy-in. Manufacturing and logistics, they use universal business language. And all that is really a standardization of your data asset so that you can have the right data at the right place for the right person at the right time. And to deliver that takes integration to create that sort of connectivity. So I guess to summarize, any form of digital transformation needs integration as at its core.
Okay, that's great. What would tell you that your business is struggling a little bit and would benefit from integration? What are the signs that
Yeah.
the systems aren't talking to each other nicely and that you aren't portable and reliable and connected?
Yeah. I think there's a number of ways you could measure that and evaluate that. And in fact, that's the first thing we do when we come in to a new customer. We talk about their maturity at an integration level for their business. And they can cover 12 different domains across security, data, as I've mentioned, your customer connection, and your infrastructure. And so the signs that you're not agile and that you're not quick to take advantage of new go-to-market strategies is you're just a metastasized monolithic organization that can't quickly reach out and connect as a branch off a tree to a new partner or customer. Then you've got a problem. And so I guess if you were to look at your digital programs that you have undertaken and you review where the cost overruns might have happened or the time overruns happened, I'd suggest more than likely that the integration component caused those overruns because it's not easy, it's not straightforward, and we're specialists in this, and that's why we've stayed in our lane for 20 years and got very deep. We've got the scars on our back and all the code to prove it. It's a discipline, it's a specialist area, and you want to be using reusable patterns so that you're able to cope with an ever-changing environment. So your environments are ever-changing, we know this, but your ability, as builders would say, to measure twice and cut once is what we call a repeatable integration pattern. And that's really what our people are really good at for future-proofing environments, not just for integration today, but for integration tomorrow. And so that, going back to our first example with a point-to-point monolithic sort of approach, is that might be good for that day, but as soon as a new system comes on or that system changes, you've got an integration setup that's going to cause a whole lot of technical debt.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, there's no point in investing in a ton of making it work if tomorrow it doesn't make
Yeah.
it work anymore.
Yeah.
I guess that's almost never been more true than right now with all the talk around AI and machine learning. I know those things have been around for a while, but it does seem like of late it's been talk of the town. Has the adoption, or at the very least the interest in AI, driven more conversations around integration?
Yeah, very much so, Trudy. Again, any digital transformation that companies embark on today definitely should have a view towards AI, machine learning, and how that can be applied inside that digital transformation. And so to do that requires data structured properly, tagged well, and inside an integration pattern that data can be called on to really maximize the power that AI and machine learning can deliver as part of that digital transformation project. So yes, integration, again, it keeps coming back to, if you consider it like a central nervous system, where all roads lead through integration, it has to be done well up front, well designed and architected. The patterns are repeatable, and can allow that data to flow through the central nervous system to the right place at the right time.
It sounds a little bit to me like you've encountered a lot of people along the way who thought about integration last. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
true?
yeah. We have
As
some of our best customers are those people, and we come in and do some remediation and try to fix up the initial situation. But we like to partner long term with our customers. Integration, even though we like to measure twice and cut once, it is a journey. Everything's evolving, and we talk about next practice in terms of our integration capabilities, and we're always improving on how we deliver automation and that integration. So yeah, we come in and fix some stuff up, but then we look to be a bit more strategic than that, and we design an integration strategy and roadmap that's right for that business. And that roadmap component is essentially, okay, you're at scenario A today, you want to get to scenario B. The roadmap is how you get from A to B from a project perspective. And we work inside our customers' project teams and can be part of a cross-functional team that takes care of that integration so that's nice and consistent and future-proofed.
I think back to how we used to get from A to B in any sense over the years. We started off with giant big paper maps that nobody could fold back in correctly, or an A to Z. And now we've got wonderful digital solutions on our phones that talk to us and tell us whether we're
Yeah,
walking too slow or too fast and when to
yeah,
turn left.
yeah,
I guess integration is a little bit the same in that it's evolving with the digitization of everything,
yeah.
and that path to A to B can be considerably faster and easier if thought about in the first place, rather than after you got to point C and meant to be at point B.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, it's an interesting analogy, the map, where the world's crazy, and it's only going to get more and more crazy from a digital point of view. Look at our kids and what they're using. So it's only getting more and more dynamic. The amount of things you can need to connect to if you're a business, and you need to be quick to be able to do that for those reasons I talked about first in terms of winning in the market. So, integration could be considered a map. It makes sense of all of this change, all of this dynamic, ecosystems that are coming on stream that you need to participate in or lose. So integration can be considered a map that you can rely on to have that North Star nicely mapped out, and integration is going to give you a pathway that's nice and sure because it's well architected up front, and we can travel with you along that pathway.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I like that. I'm going to come back to what you said earlier around integration done well as a weapon for sustained competitive advantage. Great catch cry. Where's the meat on the bones? Can you give me a couple of examples of the commercial benefits to business when integration is done well?
Yeah, well, you'll pay less. It'll cost you less to get stuff done. If, as I said, I think one of those taglines I use is integration done poorly puts a tax on everything else. Well, obviously the converse, the flip side applies. Integration done well speeds you up, time to market, speed to value, all that stuff. If you have a merger and acquisition where you're combining, or let's say smashing together two entities, the quicker you can get that done, and the faster and most effective way of integrating those two entities is going to be a commercial good outcome for you. So we've worked in major government programs of work where there's always multiple stakeholders involved and complex systems that need to be integrated, and quickly people start coming to us and knowing that for me to get a successful outcome here, I need this integration done well. And so we tend to be the center of the room when it comes to that stakeholder engagement. So yeah, it'll cost you less if you get it done right the first time. You'll get speed to market because you're not reinventing infrastructure and APIs and integration patterns every time something changes. You'll have an integration strategy and a foundation that is future-proofed through well-architected integration. So, yes, it's not good to just put a body in a project and call that a good integration outcome. It's got to be more strategic than that. And if you can get it done at a strategy level, that's going to give you avoid technical debt. It's going to give you speed to value, speed to market, and all those things that all businesses fundamentally need.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, there doesn't really seem a reason not to do it in that regard. If you can do things faster, it ultimately costs you less in the long run, and you're able to extract the benefits of what it is that you're planning on doing with more efficiency. That seems like something anybody would want to do. Do you ever find people that say, I don't want that, this is not worth it? I don't want to go faster. I don't want it to cost less in the long run.
Yeah, well, some people, some customers are under different pressures, and a tactical short-term, out of the box solution can be the right thing for that occasion. But as I say, we're agnostic when it comes to our technology. We've got 20 years of experience of using all sorts of middleware and integration tooling, so we'll use the right tool for the right job. But really, our philosophy is, based on code, not clicks, we call it. So it's all that secret sauce and automation and coding that we've done over those 20 years. We can bring to bear and deliver a light touch, low cost but efficient and future-proofed solution that often is better or appropriate solution to deliver a longer-term strategic outlook for that business. And that's really where we want to play with our customers that want to go on a journey with us. We'll be there as their integration advisor. We can do that architecting and strategy stuff up front. We'll leave behind a beautiful shiny platform that is their integration backbone, and we can manage that, feed and water it once that's delivered, and that gives us a long-term strategic partnership with our customers that really know what they're doing and can weaponize integration for their business success. And I would say the day's coming now where business leaders are really starting to understand that. They're looking for any opportunity to get competitive advantage, and integration, even though it's kind of technical and it's a little bit nerdy, business leaders are looking over going, okay, I have got a very dynamic ecosystem going on now, digitally speaking, and I need an integration partner that can cope with that and set me up for success. So I think we're 20 years in the making, but it's a wave that is well and truly in play now, and we've got just the right surfboard, I suggest.
I love it. And it sounds to me that there appears to be a widening gap between the pick your point solution, middleware for integration and do it yourself versus taking a long-term strategic view and choosing a partner. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, yeah. As I say, there's good middleware solutions out of the box, and if you've got if we came upon, normally we'll make the recommendation on what is the appropriate integration platform, and often we'll find ourselves going for the, let's say, out of the box solution because time pressure. Normally, you need to achieve something really quickly. Well, you might not want to spend too much time coding and getting a sort of a microservices approach to your integration pattern. You might prefer the out of the box model, and we're just as happy to use those middleware technologies. We're very good with them, and we support them long term. And yeah, they can be built quite quickly and deliver an outcome that will serve its purpose.
So there's still an opportunity for partnership even when you're taking an out-of-the-box middleware solution.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, like I say, we're agnostic, and we understand that every business is unique and has its own time pressures and programs to deliver for their boards or whoever it might be. So we just are good at listening and understanding what the requirement is, what the business pressures are or the business outcomes are, and we can factor that in with our, we've got some very clever pre-sales and strategic architects that have got 20 years of integration experience, and so they're good business people, and they understand what that out desired end game looks like, and we start with that point in mind. So if the end game is I need a quick and efficient out of the box thing done now, fine. If you're looking to set up a more holistic programmatic piece of work that sets up your whole integration sort of backbone for decades to come, we can do that too, or anything in between.
That very much underpins the alignment between Integration Works and Fusion 5 coming together, because Fusion 5 has always said it's not technology for technology's sake. It's you've got to make sure that technology is working for you, delivering the outcomes that matter. And for business, of course, that's competitive advantage. It's profit. It's being able to do what you do with the least amount of friction for the greatest amount of reward. Sounds like integration fits that mold pretty perfectly.
Yeah, spot on, Trudi. And there's another good word, friction. If you can take that out of a business, then you're doing integration well. So we're all about that, and our technical people get very excited on the different ways you can achieve these things. Personally, like I said, I'm not technical, so I've got lots of friends that are leaders in business, and I get excited by helping them win. So it is pretty exciting joining Fusion 5 to reinforce that I side of the SI and to really be a legitimate force in the market now for true systems integration. We've got a lot of products and solutions from payroll to CRM, JD Edwards and all that good stuff, and we expect to be adding value into those solution sets and delivering great outcomes for the customers there through our experience with integration. And so we're looking forward to working with our Fusion 5 colleagues as well as our direct customers.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I'm going to pivot a little bit because it sounds like with Integration Works having been around as long as the business has, I'm sure you've seen and heard some things that just make you roll your eyes. So are there any myths about integration or systems integration that you'd like to bust?
Yes, there are. First one that I'd suggest is that you can afford to consider integration as an afterthought, that you can treat it as a nice to have. Those days, I think we've talked about this pretty in depth now. Those days are over. The need for hashtag integration first is is upon us, and that need is because of the dynamic ecosystems that businesses are dealing with that have to connect to if they're going to have that competitive advantage they seek. So I would like to blow that myth up first and foremost, that integration can be considered just as a nice to have or down the road. It needs to be considered upfront and strategically. Second myth I'd like to blow up is that anyone can do this, that anyone can do integration. It's if they understand a bit of code, then yeah, you can put forward bodies and deliver an outcome. We don't believe that. We have integration people that can do that, but they understand patterns like we were talking about, understand data structures, and most importantly, understand the bigger picture that the integration pattern is delivering within. So they understand the desired business outcome and all the downstream technical influences on that. And we work with that in mind. So you don't need to babysit us. You don't need to tell us really what to do. You just give us your business outcome that you're looking to achieve through integration, and we'll put the recommendation up and then get it done. So not anyone can do this. This is a specialist area. We employ integration analysts, architects, developers, testers, BAs, but with emphasis on the integration. They're not generic. They're all specialists in their field, and we've stayed in our lane for 20 years. That's why we're really good at it. And so
are these the scars on your back that you were talking about earlier? This is why not everybody can do it. It takes a bit. You take a few floggings along the way, and you've learned the lessons.
Yeah, in any industry or team or business, if you've been around long enough, well, that's a endorsement in itself. You've been around a long time, so you're doing something right. And we do. We don't always get it right. We've learnt lessons along the way, and we do learn from them. And part of doing something is not repeating something. So that's the automation part where if we go into an environment or a situation where we've seen this before, we've got a thing called Backstage, which is essentially like a code library, and we can deploy the pattern that we used back yesterday or 6 months ago tomorrow for a new customer. And so you save a whole lot of time and cost on getting set up and getting underway because we can just deploy what we've already done in the past. So we've got a few scars on our back, Trudi, but that's part of life and a part of what makes us always improving.
Any other myths that you want to blow out of the water for people? Or are they the top two?
About integration, I think those are the top two, and I perhaps would suggest also that good local integration specialists. We're in New Zealand and Australia. We've got a team in the UK as well, but you can outsource it and get a result. But if you treat this seriously as a weapon, like we've talked about, and a strategic one at that is enduring, then partnering with someone in your country, you get what you pay for, and perhaps that's not a myth. That's one I want to endorse. Yeah,
I like that. What advice would you have for someone who might be experiencing that little bit of friction or thinking, I need that competitive advantage? What would you tell them if they were considering investing in an integration project? And how would they find a good partner to work with? Obviously, think we're great, but if they were starting from scratch and didn't want to just take us at our word, what should they look for?
Yeah, I think, our customers are probably not asking themselves, should I invest in an integration project? And that's what makes integration a little bit mysterious or opaque, because it is that central nervous system. It's kind of taken for granted. So where I'm coming from is that it is embedded. It's a core tenet of any digital transformation. So if your customer is asking, I'm about to embark on this program of work. It's a digital program of some sort. It might be transformational, it might be tactical. I can guarantee you inside that program and work, there is an integration component. And so my suggestion or my advice is to get an integration partner in that can come in and sit down and listen and understand the transformation or the project that you're on, the business outcome that you seek, and see what sort of advice they can give you about the recommended integration strategy for that program that will get a good outcome at the end of it. Ask them for, that recommendation up front, what the strategy looks like. Ask then how they would deploy it and manage it, and how are they going to partner with you throughout the journey. So for us, we would send in our best and brightest up front under pre-sales. We listen, we guide. It could just be an initial consult, and we'll happily provide some IP that will set that customer up, and hopefully, they like what they hear, and they normally do, because there's so many things you just don't consider when it comes to the integration strategy. And once you get that done up front, then it is the tenant for all the other components of that transformation to connect to and deliver against. So, yeah, give us a call.
I love it. So it sounds to me not so much that, like you say, people aren't sitting there thinking, should I be investing in integration? It's more likely that they are investing in some kind of digital transformation program.
Yeah.
So that could be a new business application, so a new CRM, payroll, enterprise resource planning solution, or potentially upgrading themselves to take on or benefit from artificial intelligence, or potentially just a tidy up if something's going end of life and it's going to, or there's an upgrade coming. Asking questions about integration should be part of that project's due diligence, not a get it in, get it done, and then wonder about how to make it all work together. Integration is due diligence, and that's the time to consider it as part of that planning.
Perfectly put, Trudi. Yes, that's exactly right. Do it up front. Consider it up front as important as any other of the people components of a project, and don't leave it as a tactical afterthought, because you will end up with technical debt. That's really the warning, is that it might suit your purpose today, but it just won't cope. A point-to-point solution just won't cope with the amount of change that's happening in our digital environments these days. And integration is just becoming more and more important, done up front, so that we can save you that technical debt and give you the opposite, which is that agility to be first in the market.
When it comes to integration, are there sweet spots for integration partners when it comes to industry? Are there reasons to kind of pick people who have had experience in certain spaces, or is it pretty homogenous?
No, that's a good question, and that's part of our experience over the years. We've had experience in every sector, but then you do get just through experience more experience in some sectors than others. So for us, banking and finance is a area where we have there's not many, if any, outside of our organisation, buy-in qualified, certified consultants. So that means we can work with banking leaders and architects on their core banking transformations, with a industry accepted standard that we architect against. So we love banking. We love health. Delivering better health outcomes makes you feel good. And that's wherever we go, we work with in that sector. Fire is the language of their data that we standardise, use as the standard to achieve those sorts of outcomes. So we're very deep in health and love it because it's important. And then manufacturing, logistics, retail, the same. They use sort of universal business language, and we achieve the same sort of outcomes through the same philosophies and approaches across manufacturing and retail. So it's a very broad sort of brush, but each industry does have its nuances in terms of particularly the data standardization that they use. And so we're very familiar with those, and we can put those into our patterns to deliver for that particular sector.
Amazing. And with Integration Works, having people in both Australia and New Zealand and the UK, there's obviously a pretty broad scope there for where you can take on projects and support businesses and basically provide partnership. In your opinion, is having someone local important when it comes to integration, or is it the kind of thing that with all of our online communication these can be done from anywhere? What's your feeling on that scale?
Yeah, a bit of both, Trudi. I think it depends on the role. I think the more strategic upfront sort of architecting, laying down of what we call CI/CD pipelines, so it's continuous integration, continuous development, is quite strategic and specialist. So those sorts of roles, I think, if like anything, I believe communication's best done face to face if you can. The little nuances, the things our customers are trying to achieve, are really best suited to having a face-to-face planning session and that strategic work done that way. Development, testing, we can do that out of the Philippines. We've got local developers in New Zealand, Australia, the UK, as you say. So we have a follow the sun managed service that's 24/7. So we can bring to bear what the right resources for the right requirement. But yeah, I'm a fan of the face to face. I'm old school like that, I guess. But
I'm not by machines just yet.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Thank goodness. Very good. Well, that wraps up all the questions that I had for you today. Is there anything that you would passionately like people to understand about integration that we haven't covered today?
Yeah, I think we did cover it, Trudi. It's for our customers. I'm just passionate about seeing them do well, and it's just such an opportunity for business leaders to ask their technical leaders, how can integration help our boat go faster? And there's a good answer to that question, and it can be strategic to your business outcomes, to your competitiveness. If you lean into it, if you get us in and ask us, how can we help deliver better business outcomes for your business, then integration can do that. And so it's time for people to lean into integration and ask the experts, how can it help me win in the market?
Very good. All right. Well, there you go, everybody. This edition of Spotlight On has been all about integration. So if you're interested in winning, you're looking for a weapon that's going to give you a sustained competitive advantage, is going to remove friction. Integration is a conversation you need to be having within your businesses, and as you start up any project relating to digital transformation, adoption of AI, or ultimately doing things faster, better, with greater outcomes for your business. I want to thank Mike for making time to join us today. This has been a really enlightening session, so thank you so much, Mike. And,
thanks, Trudi. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll see you all next time on Spotlight On. Take care, everyone.